Okay. Good evening, everyone. Um, Nice to meet you all again. This is the third week, and we'll be talking about CSS. Last week we discussed about HTML and how we discussed about the skeleton, why CSS is the one that will beautify it. So we all know that what we have coded last week is not something we can present to clients. But with the addition of CSS now, I believe we can have something to present to clients that this is the project I've worked on. And believe me sincerely, it's easier to work. You can get a paid gig. You can get a job by just knowing this HTML and CSS. And most especially, you can even participate in hackathons, because there are a lot of people who have challenges. Seeing senior dev that when it comes to CSS, they run away, or they prefer to outsource the project. So what I'm talking in essence is that with this week that we have and the previous week, you have the basic to start earning. You have the basis to start doing something. You have the basis of starting a project. Um, um, you have a basis of starting the project that either you think about it or outsourced to you. So today, um, since we don't have question, I would like to talk on, like, make some important discussion about some of the topics we are talking about this week. We have a lot, but I will just be, because this is the first day, we'll first be talking about CSS fundamentals. For those people that are new to this absolute beginner, and as we progress on, remember that we have an HTML class, an HTML project we did last week. Possibly on Wednesday, we'll start styling it, since you could have finished watching the videos. You could have finished also doing your project. So we'll have time to start working on that side project. Please don't take the side project as a priority. Take your assignment, your tasks, and the videos as priority, so that when you are through, then maybe on Wednesday, if you have higher submission, then we can start learning. We can start interpreting that one and styling it. So on that note, I would like us to create a project. I'll be starting from the beginning. So this is my desktop. If I right click here, most of you have Git bash. If you have installed Git before, but I'm not going to be using Git bash because I'm on Windows 11. I can open a terminal like this. Or if you are not using Windows 11, if you go to your folder like this and you enter CMD, if I highlight this and you enter CMD like this, then it will take you to this. Okay. Yeah, I believe each and every one of us either has this CMD or can open a new terminal. I'm using Windows 11. So if you can also use it too, please try. So I'll be using this. I want to make another directory. Let me say mk. If you want to create a file using command line, you're going to be using mkdir. I hope you can all see my screen. I hope you can all see my screen. If I click on make directory, then I want to say Zuri CSS. Zuri CSS. Now you can see now I've created a folder called Zuri CSS. So if I do ls here to tell me the list of all the folders I have here, I have a lot, but running through it, you can see I have Zuri CSS. I created it on the 10/10. So this just it. So now I want to move it to just like it was explained by Mentor Victoria. You just press CD. That's what we want to. That means change directory. Move to Zuri CSS. Now I'm now inside Zuri CSS folder. Press ls again. Sorry, I said LD. That was wrong. Okay, there's nothing like that. So can tell me say this now, But if I say ls, there's nothing there. I don't have anything inside the folder, so I'm having empty something. So I'll just say, but I want to open this inside with my code, so I can just press code. This is the shortcut for opening with my code editor. So now I've opened it with my code editor here. I would like to maximize my screen so that everyone can see. Yeah. So that everyone can see. Oh, sorry for the big transmission. So now this is my folder. This is my code editor now. So I can do whatever I like here. This is where life begins as a developer. So now I can see someone asking a question that's okay. Was it? Yeah, I can see someone asking a question. How do we create a folder on VS Code? So if you over on this sidebar, you have this this option coming out. We have this for folder, and this is for file. So you can see I want to create a folder. So now, because I just want to create folder for my styles, I can say styles. But my HTML, I'm not creating any folder, index.html. The reason why I'm not creating is the reason why I'm not creating a folder for HTML is that because it's just a single folder I'm going to a single file I'm going to be using. And secondly, when you are pushing to GitHub, your index file must be at the root. So it's better that you create it like this. Please, if you are together, comment on the chat box. Let me know that we are together. I don't know if I'm getting the latest chat or I'm not. It's not synchronizing. We're having 70 people on online. So let me know if you are together with me. Comment on the chat box. So this is what we have. I still don't understand this terminal things. I'm a beginner of simple knowledge. If you are, I don't know the system you are using. If you are not using, you can try and Google the command lines. If you are not using Windows 11 like my own, you can go to any of your folder you have, just like I have here. This part you have here, clear it and just press this CMD, or because it's CMD. Once you press CMD like this, it's going to open something like this. Yeah. So if I press LS now, this one will tell me, okay, it's not here. So because this is not, but you can use once you install GitHub and Git bash, you can use your Git bash. Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, yeah, this is fine. So we are in this folder and we have our HTML file. Now, what do you mean by CSS? CSS means cascading style sheet. Those of you that have watched the video, you could have seen one or two things about it. Now, what do you mean by style sheet? It's a style sheet that we use to style HTML. It's also not a programming language because you can't use a CSS. You can't write CSS alone. You need HTML to build with the CSS so that it can work effectively. Anyhow you feel it, you can open it in VS Code. You don't need to go through the process. I'm just explaining now. You don't need to go through that process to open your file. Anyhow you want it, just open it. Another way of opening it is this. Now, because I created it on I can go here. Where is the name of the folder? I say Zuri CSS here. I can go here and say I can right click and okay, if your own have open, if I open like this, but most especially if you have installed Git bash, the other option or Git desktop, you can, for my work, I can show more option like this. I don't know why my screen is again. So if you show more options, it's supposed to bring you where you can use your Git bash. Okay, get Git bash here. So this is another thing of using. Instead of using that one, if I press LS, so it's telling me that I have styles. There is a folder called styles. So that's how you don't need to go my way to get it done actually. So that's fine. So I think that's that answered that question as regards that. So now I'll be using also W3 School This is absolutely for beginners. If you're a beginner, you can always use W3 School and you're going to enjoy it. And even if you are a pro, you can also find the W3 School interesting, especially if you need to revise a topic or something like that. What about our crypto sites? Are we not doing it again today? Oh, sorry, please, crypto is a side hustle or is a side project, let me put it like that. Now, it has to be sequential. Now, we need to talk about CSS first, so that beginners, those people that are just learning it, it will not be totally new to them. The way we introduced HTML was not the first day. So we are going to be doing CSS maybe on Wednesday. I want to have like more than 60% submission of your task. Like I want everyone to be done with their with the task, so that we won't be bogged down with this crypto project. Even if new project has come up for this month, which I would like us to also try. So I'll be sharing the link after this week. You can try. If you have issue, let me know. I'll also be trying from my end. You can also message me for collaboration. So I'm always open for that. So so I want everyone to be together, because now if you start talking about box sizing for someone that is new to CSS, it will get tired easily because it doesn't understand what box sizing is, or what is a class selector, something like that. All those things, they are totally new to beginner, and we want this to be all inclusive. I want to have a higher number of attendance, and the attendance is not that important. I want like 100% of people to understand what we are talking about. So please try and do your task as soon as possible, and then after the task, then we can move on. And one thing I would like to also clarify in your task is this. Mentor Victoria commented about please don't use CodePen unless you are using a pro account. Unless you are using a pro account, there is no way you can open two CSS, two HTML file or two folder, or create a folder on CodePen. Unless you are using a pro account, because I tried to research on it. Yes, we are going to talk about media query. Yeah, because I want also that project to be to be responsive. So to some extent, I'm going to work on it. I'll try as much as possible to make this friendly to everyone. Or at least if you don't get it, you can always watch the video at any other time. So now, as Victoria earlier explained, please don't do your tasks with HTML with a CodePen. You are going to be having issue because as you are using CodePen, it only supports, you can see now only have one HTML, one CSS, and one JS file. So that's used for short projects. You can't be able to use it. So because you have a login page, and you have a login page and you have a register page. So it's not advisable. Please try using Replit. Replit, I really enjoy it, but when I was working on a crypto project, it's just like a normal folder. Or you can, okay, no, sorry, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to use this, please. I want to talk about Code Sandbox. Code Sandbox is one of the most popular online editor people use. So you can also try using Code Sandbox. It's a popular one that I really like it personally. Not until I start working on some project before I get to know about Replit. So if you look at it now, for those of you just starting, the template here is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's only what you need. That's only the other template. There is React, there is everything you need. So, but we're going to be using just basic HTML, and well, there's another one here. I've not used it before. You can also try it. So I don't want to confuse a lot of people. So let's just use the basic one and let's go ahead. I can say CSS projects. No, so I've created that. Now, if you look at it now, I've created it. Just like if you look at it, this thing looks similitude to what we have in our VS Code. You can see now I have a file, I have the add folder. Thank God they have already helped us. They have already helped us with there's an index.html page and there's a style.css page already for us, needed for us. So that's very, very important. So now we have our index.html. So now this is a comment. I think I'll talk about that shortly. Just that I'll prefer to use, we don't need JavaScript for now. I'll be deleting all this JavaScript. We don't really need it for now. This is our body now. So this is what we have. So I've deleted all the boilerplates that we have here. I can change the title to CSS project. Please change your own also. It's very important. CSS title. And I'll also advise you. Now we have I'll just take this as a challenge. Try and read about meta. I think we talked about it in the HTML class. Read about it and add more meta tags. Author, add your name. Add your name, author, as part of. I think there's another attribute called author. Is it author? Yeah, please just try and read about it. I forgot there are several meta tags. I'm used to React, so there are several meta tags. So try and add your author, your name to it. Your side project, you're not going to be submitting it, but I bet if you can finish that project, and you can do it thoroughly, you can start applying for a job. So you get rejection, to be honest. You are going to have a lot of rejection, but to give you some kind of confidence, and you can always go on Frontend mentor that you can always get some challenge and work on it. So you can work on that, because you are not going to be following any tutorial also. So if you're having issue now, so please try and use replies. Once you use it, you can always take it like this and share, copy this link and share as your submission. So make the changes here. Please make sure that you are having semantic HTML in your work. You have an header here. I can say inside this my header, I have let's say H4. I have my H4 here. Let me say Zuri. Okay, maybe I've not run it. So I have Zuri. Yeah. Then I have my nav here. Just like we talked in our last class, I have my nav here. In my nav, let me see. I don't think this one can work. Let's say, because I don't think there is emit here, but let me try it. I've not tried it before. Yeah, emit is not working because there's emit here. So you are just, reason why I know some people prefer writing it in HTML in your VS Code before coming here. I understand, because there will not be emit. You won't have any suggestion. So now I can say home. Then if I copy this one down, products, service. Okay, if this is all what I know, there are a lot of things you have been taught that is inside the video. We have Flexbox. I will not be talking about layout today for the sake of the beginner. So now what I'm going to be talking today is we don't have much time. We have talked about CSS, and I'll also be using this document so that it can be clear. Yes, please try and do CSS. Try and do the styling with different style sheet. This is a style sheet here now. This one here. So please try and do it. So you can just link it. So now I think let me start with that. There are different ways of writing CSS. Okay, there are different ways of writing CSS. Let me come to here. We have talked about the fundamentals, how it's very important. We use it to style our work. So you really need CSS. The only way you can't need CSS is that if you are going to write JavaScript, you may not need, it's not necessary. That's why some people start using programming language. Like they start learning web development through JavaScript, which is possible, but it's tedious. You can create all this HTML inside your JavaScript, and there will not be issue. So, but that's not the best. The best is just to start with HTML. So now we have external, internal, and inline styling. So what do we mean by external? External, just like it's like having additional style sheets. So here now, my style.css, this is another style sheet now. This my style.css is another style sheet. So for example, now I'm taking this universal selector and I want to give it a background of red. So if I run this now, I don't expect it to be this slow. So now if I run now, my background is red because this is an external style sheet. And please don't be confused. The reason why you are using it before is that because it has been linked here. on line 8 of my code, I think, let me zoom in. On line 8 of my code, it has already been added to your work, so you don't need to bother much about it. It has already been added. See my line 8 here. I'm having the CSS. So, well, for the sake of those people, well, the CSS, the project we are talking about, once we have finished it and once we reach Git and GitHub class, I'll put it to GitHub so everyone can see. You can make comment or you can make suggestion on the repo. But then we'll discuss about it later. Yes, the reason why external style sheet is the best is that you can you can't need to start writing. Imagine if I start writing style here. I start writing style here as an attribute here. I say color is green. If I say color is green here, it will work. But now I have to start putting for every one of them. I have to start putting it like this. I have to start putting it like this. There's nothing wrong in it because in the project we are going to be doing, we are going to be using what we call utility class CSS. We'll be writing our class and we'll be putting it as a class. We are going to be writing our CSS and we are going to be linking it using class. So now if I run this one will work, but it's somehow this thing I've written in 3 places. I can only write it with one line of CSS, code. So these are just things that we'll try and avoid. Okay, it's supposed to be, this is not right. I think this is supposed to be like this. Yeah, we don't have this here. So I always advise you try and use external style sheets. You can, that doesn't mean that you cannot use internal style sheets. You can also use it, or you can decide to write your style. So as I was saying, this is an external style sheet. This is an external style sheet. Our style.css. You can name it anything. So, but they have defaultly named it style.css for us so that it will be easier. You don't need to stress yourself. So now, okay, now we also have, like I said, we have internal CSS. Internal CSS are the one that you are going to be written in the head. CSS always comes before the body. That's why it's being put on the head. In JavaScript will come last. CSS will come first before HTML. So that's just it. So now if you want to do it, because if this thing is transpiling, it starts from the head down to the body. So now it's going to first see the CSS. So now you can write your style here. This is another way of writing. You can write your style here. Sorry, we are going to be writing style this is not what I want to write. You are going to write it as an element, style like this. So this is a way. This is another way. You might decide to write it in your task giving. You might decide to write your CSS here. Nobody is going to penalize you. Just that best practice. Because one thing I've seen is this: with best practice, with following some best practice, it becomes part and parcel of you. Like for example, now when I was learning React, when I first started React, I don't like commenting code. I just write blah blah blah. My colleague will not be able to read. My H4, my color is blue. So this one too will work. If I run it, I don't think I have error. Okay, I think okay. For another thing is this: if you are using the okay, yeah, okay. You can see now. One thing about CSS is this. One thing about coding is this: you have to debug. I'm having something. If you look at it, my H4 is here. It's bringing this thing I've written, which is wrong. But because a closing tag here, I've messed it up. I didn't close a tag here. So that's why it's giving me that. If I refresh this, it should work now. Okay, now you can see now my color for Zuri now is blue. So that's how to write it. I will not spend much about this because it's in your video. If you have any question, please always message me on Slack. You always have me attending to you 100%. I think those people that have messaged me, I'll try as much as possible to respond to messages, especially because I know the best way to learn is to teach. So I know that once you ask your own question, I'll also have more time to, once I give you an answer, it shows that I understand in one way or the other. So please, Isiaka, I don't understand this grading method you guys use. The total number of grade is very lesser than the overall grade point, given which makes our score looks like. What is, please, can you just ask a question related to CSS on this plan for now? You can always message me on Slack or put it on the Slack channel so I can easily respond to you. Yes, it can also work on live server. I think you can also work on live server. But the only issue is that if you are using your VS Code, make sure you copy your code. Make sure you copy your code down here. Don't submit your GitHub link. Don't submit the link of don't submit localhost 3001 for us. It's going to be brutal because we're scoring 0.5. So I don't want to spend much time here. Now, so this is how we have our style here. So I've written here. I've written this here. So now you can add another thing as to it. You can style as any element as possible. We are going to be going to selector very shortly. So this is what we mean by internal styling. So this, let me make it, I don't know if I can, yes, this is a comment. Yes, I can make a comment here. This is what we call internal styling. What we mean by internal styling. Now, this one I've done here is what we call inline styling. That means you are going to be giving it, inline styling is what we call an attribute. You are going to give it an attribute of style, then you start writing your code here. You can write as much as possible. Like my color here is green. I can say font size is font size. Okay, yeah, this is not right. Font size is 3 So now if I run this now, it should be bigger. So yeah. So now, so we are having font sizes. Please don't forget, by God's grace, we'll be starting down one on you can see now it is very big now. This font size is 3 So by God's grace, we'll be talking about that styling on Wednesday. And the only reason why I'm going to be coming to it is because when you have like 80% of people submitted their task, please, if you have any issue, this task given to you, we are giving you the simplest task as a starter. To understand is going to be a bit difficult, but it's something that when you look back and you're able to do this, because I believe if you want to learn very well, the best way is to learn with something easier. Then you can start intermediate and difficult. So we'll be doing it on Wednesday by God's grace, inshallah. So okay, so this is what we call inline styling. You can see now I've written like 2 styles here, and all of them are working. So that's what we mean by inline styling. So now please be very much aware. We have 3 types of styling. We have inline styling, external styling, and internal styling. So that's it. So another thing on my list, I want to talk about it here. What we mean by syntax? Yes, what do you mean by syntax? How is things being run? Okay, now I think before CSS syntax, we have another thing. Yeah, okay, yeah, we have CSS syntax. No, how do we write CSS syntax? The way of writing CSS syntax is one, especially if you are using external style sheet. Even if you are using internal, it's still the same thing. But you are going to have a selector. You have to select. We are going to be having a selector, and we are going to be having a property. Property. And we're also going to be having, okay, so this is not VS Code. I'm trying to be having value. So now what do we mean by selector? Now let me tell you, now for example, selector means that now we have a lot of HTML, we have a lot of elements. For example, here I have header, I have body, all of them are elements. Now I have to select them. Like now I'll be commenting out this. I'll be commenting out this. Now I'll be commenting this out so that I'll be running, so I'll have something. Now, so we have this now. We have LI, we have P, we have everything. And let me add more thing, if possible. I want us to go to different selector now. So we have this is first class. So we're having all this now. How do we know? How do we select? I want to select this. This is three first class. Is what I want to change the color, or I want to increase the font size. How do I change it? Now that's where CSS syntax come in. We are going to take the selector. The selector here, because what I want to style is what we call the selector. I want to style my P element. So this is what we call my P, and we are going to have this block of code. We're going to install. Now I've selected P. Now I would like to go to my don't worry. So I've selected P now. Then I have to put which property I want to change. My property I want to change is, let's say, color. I want to change the color. My color should be green. So the property. I can write as many, this is what we call, you can write as billions of lines of here if you wish. I can say my height, talk about it. My line height, you can see, should be 3. I can also say my font size, my font family. I can change the font family to be sans serif. You can write as many property as you want, but there is a condition. At the end of every property or every value, you must put a semicolon. If you didn't put this other line of code, if I run this, it's going to try errors. Me one in here. But because it's CSS, that's one thing about CSS, that if you are having problem, CSS will not tell you. You will not know in your browser. But the only thing you will just know is that if I remove this background of red now, the only thing you are going to know is that your code, did not run. This block did not run because there's an error. So make sure at the end of your after your value, you must put a semicolon. That will end that definition. That will end that definition. So if I run this now, it will definitely work. I think I made a mistake. Next class is going to be like this. I think I'm supposed to put auto reload. I think if you are working on your own, you can choose that auto reload as a feature so that it will be easier. But I'm just afraid that I don't want to confuse a lot of people, and I'm not definitely used to using Replit. I prefer to use code samples, because you have a lot of people, especially the ones that are working with project framework like React. Some people have demonstrated some things that you are going to see it with them. So this is how this is CSS syntax. So the same way if you are writing inline styling, that I'm going to write it. The only difference, if you are writing it as an attribute. Now I'm writing, if I want to write it as an attribute here, I'm also going to give it a style. But because now I've selected this, I'm writing this inside this element cell, because this, I'm not selecting this li again. It's already selected. I'm writing inside, so I'm just going to write the property. And the property I want to use is color, and I want it to be yellow. So I believe other code, I have a lot of things that I wish I want to touch, but I want to make sure that, sorry, I don't know, okay. I want to make sure that everyone we are together, doing okay. My style is spelled incorrectly, ST. That's one thing, because if I'm using VS Code will tell me that I've made an error, but this one will not tell me I've made an error, or I will not easily detect. It also have auto suggest, but I will not easily detect what the error is all about. So I'm also checking the comments. Please do use the form to answer questions. Allow me, my voice is breaking. Are you the one breaking my voice? I think that should be a bit of network. Sorry about that. Mentor Isiaka. I'm trying to check. Mr. Isiaka, quick question. Do you see HTML as a programming language? No, HTML is not a programming language, Joe. Tobani, Esan George. I think we have discussed this first. You cannot do any manipulation. It's like you see HTML. HTML is just a skeleton, it's not a programming language. But the reason why people call it a programming language, at the end of the day, write HTML, write everything, is going to compile whatever you've written inside programming language, that's JavaScript. At the end of the day, what you are going to see in your browser is something that's been translated to HTML code. It's not a programming language, it's just a markup language. Just thank you, Ayomide Bolan. Yeah, you can always argue about it, but everyone knows it's just going to be a joke, because the reason people call it that, whatever, if no matter what you have written, if you know JavaScript, no Angular, nothing, at the end of the day, the still is going to come back to HTML. So now, yeah, I think I'm done with that. So I think this, me, I don't really, when you are giving a task, the reason why we are giving an assignment is for you to have a problem. Okay, I think everyone can hear me now. Sorry, I had a glitch in my network. Yeah, my network is breaking. Sorry. I think it should be better by now. So now, okay, yeah, please, Mr. Why do you use now instead of UL? Now I use now because I needed it to be semantic. So sorry, I understand what you are saying. Yeah, please don't mind me. They're supposed to be. I think I need to share my screen again. Sorry, I need to use. It's a mistake from my end. I need to use UL. Yes, this is not what I've written is not appropriate. You have to wrap it with UL. Thank you for calling my attention to that. But what I'm using now for is I'm using the now for, this is the correct way of writing it. I'm using the now because all these things, if you're right, once it's your design, it's going to be a navigation tool. So I want it to link to another page or link to another thing. So that's why we are having it. So please, I believe everyone can hear me now. Please, if you can hear me, can you just comment in the chat box that you can hear me so I will know. Now, okay, for those of you asking about, I think we have talked about linking page in your HTML. We use our a tag to do two things, where we use it to link to either internal linking or external linking. So Victory, I hope I've answered your question. It was a mistake, please. It was a mistake. I've done that. I've make correction to that. Thank you for calling my attention to it. So what was I saying? I forgot to. So now, okay, we are going to be linking. We are using this this link to link it to another page. That's why we're having it like this. Okay, I was saying that we are using our A elements to do two things, either to link to an internal linking or external linking. In the HTML project that I did that require what we call it, table of contents project, I was using internal linking. I was using its internal linking by using our ID. Anywhere your ID is, by clicking on it, it will. Anyway, it is only eight. No, it is favor. Please, it is only this thing. It is only a elements or a tag that has href as attributes. They are the only one that has it as an attribute. If you use it in another one, I've not tried it before, to be honest, but it might not work because li doesn't. If I put href here, it's not going to work. You can see it's not building any subjection. So it's only it is only a element that has that opportunity of using href as attribute. Other doesn't have. So we use href to link all the pages. So please let that one be clear. And if you want to link it now, the reason why you are not seeing it here because I've not put anything. If I put it here, I want it just to be something like this. If I put it I hope everyone can hear. Please, if you can hear me, can you just make a comment in the chat box that you can hear me?
Yeah, Isiaka, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm having bad network right now. Okay, just give me. Let me. So, as I was saying, I think I'm sharing my screen. So this is how we have it because if you want to do your work to be semantic, it's better you use when you use header, you also use navbar because all this nav I'm going to be using it to navigate to another page. So it's better I use my nav. Some people usually use li without putting a. If you are okay with it, fine. But me, I just that's just the best practice. And you can also check some other header. Don't limit it to only what we are teaching you. Check for other check for other tutorials or for other articles online so that you can be able to, you also have an idea about it. So you can also have an idea about it. So please don't limit yourself to this class again, to only this class. So now, so comment. Now, want to talk about selector. This is a very, very important topic. Very, very important topic, and I'll go through it one by one. Maybe, yeah, I'll start time to also discuss one or two things about it. So that we'll talk about CSS selector to some extent. It's very, very important because that's the basis of styling CSS. So I'm trying to sort out my network so we can have a better. So now we want to talk about selector. What do you mean by selector? Selector is a means of how did I define Please, if you can see or hear me, please, can you just make comments? Please, if you can see or hear me, so sorry for this this network disruption. I'll make sure this doesn't happen next time. Okay, now, okay, I think it's getting better now. Now we want to talk about CSS selector. This is very, very important. Please, if you are a beginner, please, I would like you to take your time to be attentive to this. I'll make it as simple Victoria, please, can you hear me? Victoria, can you hear me? Please. Victoria, please, if you can hear me.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So the network is actually a general thing. So it's still very bad on my hand.
Okay, but can you also
But we can hear you now.
see my
And we
screen?
can see your screen too.
Can you see my screen also? Okay, now I think people can say they can hear. So if that's fine, you can also see my screen now. We are doing CSS selector. We have different type of selector. We have the simple select, the element. The first selector you need to know is your element selector. You are going to select the element and you're going to give it the color. Now we also have what we call our IDC. Write our HTML. We call it attribute selector. We call it what? Attribute selector. We're still going to go back to that, but I can give this an ID of let's say first P. So by this, I can select this element, this element by P. I can copy it like this. Now, if I go to my CS like this, okay. If I go to now I've given it an ID. If you want to select the writing ID here like this, we're going to be using is another syntax for ID. ID is hash color. I say hash color. This hash, this narrow key will be by ID in CSS. If I write it in my VS Code, let me use my VS Code so that you can see. This is my VS Code now. I'm going to write this something like this now. So I can write, there's no need if I write P. Now look at it. Now look at emits. Now I want to use emits for you to see. Now I want to write P with ID of I think I should zoom so that everyone can see better. Now I believe the blind can also see this. So now I want to write P with an ID attribute. There are different ways you can write. You can start writing it, but now there's emits. I can write P now, then write hash key like this. Then ID is what? First P like this. Then if I click enter, you can see now it has written my ID as first P. That's what class that's by ID selector. So anything, so this is just an example here. Hello. So now this is by ID selector. Now let me go back to so since I've written this our ID now, my first P is like this. Then I've let's or I think the maximum is 900. Yes, for first P, and I run this now. Let me see what I have. So if I run, that's one challenge of using code editor. I'm sharing my screen. You're not seeing my screen. They will stop sharing, and I'm sharing again. I think. Okay, sorry. Now. Okay, so sorry everyone if you can't see my screen now. So my screen has come up. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. We didn't see your VS Code though, sir. Oh, now I'm now using my replics. I think is either this conversation is not in sync or what. So now, so I'm giving my first P a font weight of 900. Now, if you look at it here, I've given it an ID attribute of first P. So if you come here and you come here to and give it and write it like this, then if you run it, you can see now this is Zuri first class. It is now why you did on VS Code didn't show. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it here so that everyone can see. This one I'm trying to do it here is that because your mode of submission for your assignment is through replit, so that some of you get used to it. It's not everyone that have real knowledge, so that some of you get used to it because you are not going to be submitted. Okay, if you lost, okay, now, okay, thank you. Yeah, now the first selector I'll be talking about is what we call element selector. I'm selecting it by the element, and this is what I've done here. This is what called. Let me comment it out. I can share my code later. Element selector. This is what I mean by element selector. We're having this, and this the first one is what element selector. I can collapse it like this, and the second one is, let's say, attributes. I call it attribute because ID is an attribute. Attributes selector. So one of the attributes is ID. First P, our ID is what? Font weight is 900. I can also write more. Fonts, our font size. Let me see, our font size is just 1 rem. Let's say 3 rem. If you are writing the last one, if this is the last one, you don't need to semicolon. If it's the last one, but if it's not the last one, you have to put the semicolon. But if you are using something like VS Code, it will automatically, and you are using Prettier, it will automatically add the last semicolon to it. So this is what we call attribute selector. Another attribute selector is let's say our class. For example, now this is our index.html. This is our index.html. If I give this another P, I'm going to, okay, another H5. I want to write H5 here. And I'm adding 5. Now I can select this one based on this class. So after writing the element tag, then you give space. Don't write it together, give space. Then you write a class name. Class, it is in Java. Our class is, let me say, H5. So it will be 85. Now, if you come to this place now, because this is the name of the class, this is the value for the attribute, right? If I come here and for writing class, it's going to, because before we are using hash for ID attribute, but if we are writing a class attributes, we are going to be using dots. So this dot automatically translates to class. If I write dots, this now, heading 5. Now I want to reduce this one to just 1 rem, so I will take all my screen. Now heading 5, I just say my color should be Rebecca, I don't know, Rebecca purple, yeah. So now I can refresh what I have here and run it. So you can see now have this. So I've selected this element by using this class attribute. So this is what we call attributes selector by using ID or class. But most people, they don't usually travel it as an attribute, but because it's still an attribute, that's just the fact. It's still an attribute. So another one, we have the CSS ID. Now they always say it must always be unique. In page, there must be one. You can see. So the ID selector is used to select one unique element. So you must not give two elements the same ID. For example, I can't give another. For example, here I cannot come here and now say now give another element, my HTML now give this ID to another element like this. Like, let me say, I'm giving this li or ID of this, sorry, ID of this. This is a bad practice. It must be unique to that element alone. But if you want to group different elements, assuming I'm having 5 or 10 elements here, and I want to group them together, I want to give them a single styling, I can give them the same class. If I don't use element selector, I can give them the same class. So you can use for multiple. No, you don't need to worry about responsiveness. You have not been taught responsive. Okay, you don't need to. Yes, responsiveness is next week. So you don't need to worry about responsiveness right now. Aisha Olatunji, your name sounds very, very familiar. So how you are going to be linking? Okay, now let me just do that now. For example, now I'm having my HTML, I'm having this. Now, on normal way, this is how it looks on your VS Code. Now, I'll be starting afresh. For example, now I want to create a folder called CSS. I want to put all my CSS file. So I'll create this folder now called my CSS. Now, this is where my CSS is. Now I'm waiting for a network to allow it to create. It's not yet created. So it's still not creating. So now I've created, okay, I think that's okay. Now I've created my CSS. This is my CSS now. I can move this style.css inside. So now my style.css is inside my, if I run this now, all the styling I've done before will not work unless it's yes, it's not working again because that's not the link. So now I'm having this CSS file. Let me create another one. I want to create another CSS file, index.css. Olatunji, I'm answering your question now. I'm having 2 CSS files now. Now, how do I link this to my HTML? If you look at it, they have defaultly link one. You can see that they have defaultly linked this one for me. I can copy this now and paste it again because I'm having 2 CSS now. But this is no longer correct because I've changed there's something called paths in HTML also. If you don't know, try and read about it. Now I've changed where my folder, my index.css, it's no longer together with my index again. It is only this folder. This my CSS folder and index.html, they're in the same place together, they're in the same level. Now for me to now link my CSS, I need to go into this folder. Now before I go into it, I have to select the folder, that is CSS. The folder name is CSS. Then by using / you have opened the folder. I hope it's clear. Then CSS. I've opened that folder because the reason why I'm doing this is that because my index and my style are on the same part. If they are not in the same thing, I'm going to be using dot something like this. But because they are the same inside the current folder, it's still the same thing. But because they are in the same folder, I can just use CSS/. By now, what's the name of the file? The file I want to use, the first I want to use is, let's say index.html, index.css, index.css. So now I've linked this file together now. The same thing to this one now. Because they are both same thing, I can just say CSS / this. So this is how we link it. If you run it together, if you run it again, the code is supposed to work. You can see now it works as expected. But for example, now, suppose this inside my CSS, I have another folder again. I don't know if we should go into it, but I don't think we should go into it. But because now I think this is clear, Olatunji, Aisha, I hope this is clear. Let me confirm so that I think we did something like this in HTML class. So I don't think we should also have it as our CSS class now. Olatunji, Aisha, will be expecting your. You can use different selector. Yes, now you can use different selector. You still see now. So I hope this is clear as regards your question. So Isiaka, do we need to worry about this one? Please don't worry about it. Leave the worry for me. I want to choose to use drop box for our color or checkbox. I think there is our input type that is also color. I think there's an input type that is color. You don't need to worry too much. Let me see. I think there's an input type, Okay, okay. Now this I can't write emit here, but let me just write it here. Our input. If this is my input now, I can say my type. Let me see. I think that is a color. Yes, yeah. So you can see now my input type here is color. So if I run this now, I'll have this color palette coming up. Please, going by our next class, you can see now this is a color palette now. You can see now you can select anything, RGBA, something like that. That we have a class on. You can also select color on the page. You can also select color on the page like this. You can also select color on the page like this also. So that should be clear. I hope that was clear. So so your input type here is color. Now you can style it. Let me style this one, for example. Now I can give it a class name. Now another thing, okay. Now for example, now I was talking about just that I'm having a lot of I'm talking about attributes now. You can select this input by the attribute of, let me say, our type here is color. This is a way of selecting. Now you see now, if I select only inputs like this, it will work because I only have one input there. But if I'm having multiple inputs, then it will not select this one category. So my input type here is what? Color. So I can say our width here is let me say 50 pixels. Let me say 200. So we can clearly see. Oh, okay. Now if I run it again, so you can see now the size of this thing have increased. So now I'm selecting this based on the attributes. This is input. Remember that in our type here in our index.html, our type equals color. This is an attribute. Don't forget in our HTML class, these are an attribute. So I'm selecting this based on this attribute. Same like if you are using our A elements here. So I'm not talking about attribute selector. What's happening? Nothing is typing. What is happening? I can't type. That's serious. So our width is, what's happening? I can't, okay. My height here is, I think this is why I don't like using this for live class because it can easily confuse someone. I can say it's 50 pixel here. So now if I run this now, you see the height change. What? You can see the height change. You can see the height change. So this is what we cover. So I'm selecting that input with the selector. What is the meaning of rel? Relative measurement. Yeah, relative measurement. I think there is a video. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, good to hear about that. Aisha Latunji. There's a video on the CSS unit. Please try and watch it. Please try and watch it. Yeah, I think we explained about we talk about unit, CSS unit. We have frame, we have pixel, we have M. Yeah, we have it. So how and when do we use it? What are the applications? It's been taught in that class. Please try and check it also. So now this all now. I think this is our attribute selector. I'm selecting this based on the type of color. For example, now, if I want to give it another A element here. I don't know if it's network, but as I'm typing, it's not typing. Can we just move to VS Code? I think we should just move to VS. I'm typing here and it's not typing. So now, okay. So further answer your question, I have index.html now. I can also create another file called main.html. Main.html. What have I drawn on here? I can't type. This is so serious. Okay, my dear people, let's switch to where is going to be our final rest, which is going to be our VS Code. I'm switching to my VS Code. Sorry if I've in any way misled you. I don't think I've misled, but I want to switch to my VS Code. I'm having a little bit glitch. It should be a network glitch because it is working. Okay, yeah, it's working now. It's a network glitch. So sorry about that. I don't know. So it was network before, and I believe my system RAM supposed not to give me issue. So now I want to talk about another our href equals, let's say our href equals link me. This is the name of our, if I have, let me say I'm having, okay, it can't be like this, that's the open and closing tag. So I have this also. Now I said hello. I'm clicking this again and I write hello here. So I want to explain, I want to continue with so I can, here instead of hello, I can just click this and write link me. Now if you look at it, this is where attribute selector also works. Now I'm having two A elements now, and I need to select, and I need to select the first one. If I use A, if I just write A, there'll be a problem because it's going to select the only it's only going to select the truth. Now let's try it. If I say A, and I say test decoration, test decoration should be, I think it's not okay. No, I want to remove the underline. Test decoration should be none. Now if I run this now, you don't need to master a lot of code. You don't need to master a lot of syntax. That's why I prefer using VS Code. So you always get suggestion. Now I said my test decoration should be none. You can see now the underline here is no longer there. So for those of you that didn't take notice, I'm going to delete it again and run it. So you will see the other underline again. I made a mistake. I'm supposed to have used, now there's underline here is here now. Now by putting this here and run it, the underline will go. But now this is not what I want. I only want hello to have the underline. If I want the other one, the link main should not have the underline. Then we can use what we call attribute selector. So we're having our element, but what is the attribute we are having there? We are having our href equals, let me say link me. So this is what I want. So now I can this and this. I can delete this because I don't need this again. Now if I run this now, if you look at it now, I hope everyone can see my screen. The link me here is no longer having having the text decoration. It's not going to longer having the underline, but this hello is having. So that will be made by what? Attribute selector. I'm selecting it with the attribute of href equals link me. So you can also create your own attribute also. So I think that should be clear about what my attribute. We also have, let me open this combinator selector. So we have, please, I don't get laptop for now. That's why I'm asking for media query. When we reach media query, we'll talk about it. This is the reason why I want everyone to be in sync together so that we can have even the beginners will be able to understand. We have not reached beginner stage. So once we reach there, we are going to talk about media queries. It's an interesting topic that whether you like it or not, whether you understand, you have to find a way to understand it. It's an enemy that you have to find a common ground for it. Now we're having different tabs. See, Google is creating different food that you keep wondering how do we do about responsiveness for this. So you have to know it definitely. Yes, CSS is fun. So, but it can also be frustrating. Also, yes, it can also be frustrating. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why it is like that, but if you can use your VS Code. Let me say children select that marks the marks the children of an element. For example, now we have been taught element nesting. You can nest an element inside another one. For example, now this my header now. Yeah, this my header now is an element. This header is an element, and I'm nesting my nav. This is a nav. Even inside my nav, I'm nesting my UL there. And inside my UL too, I'm nesting several li. So we can do nesting. So I've done several nesting here. Now, there's something we call specificity in CSS. I think that will be another class. But now I'll just explain this. Then we'll talk about specificity in another class. There's a YouTube video on it. So please watch on it. And if you have any question or you have something that is not clear, reach out to me or the other two mentors. We have 3 mentors at Frontend. Reach out to us. Even if you reach out to backend developer, the backend developer, everybody must know at least the basis of HTML and CSS. So you can reach out to anyone on our team, and they will respond to you at least. So so now we want to talk about the first type of combinator selector. We have combinator. The reason why we are telling you to use Rep is that we have not taught you Git and GitHub, and it's an interesting topic, but also frustrating. So it's better we just use this online editor. It's easier for you. You can, at least if you are using phone, you can easily go about it with your phone. So it should not give you an issue. Now I'm talking about combinator selector. The first one I will talk about is what we call number one. What happened? So number one is Descendant. Descendant selector. Now we are having all these things. We are going to use it. You see me when I'm writing my CSS for that project. I'll use P plus P to be able to understand what we mean by P plus P. So now what this Descendant selector is, that means you are going to take the parents and you are going to put the child as next. For example, now they are always separated by space. Let me say, for example, now in my index.html, I have an header which is the parent. Now if I come here and I say header, now this and select, but I want to say inside this select, I want to select h4. I say header and h4. Though some of you could have watched specificity. Now this one now is calculation here is 2. It's though I'm going to explain that in a nice way later on. So now we have our header h4. So this is what we call by Descendant. They are being separated by space. If you didn't put space, it's not going to work. So this is what by Descendant. If I give it a color here of do you have I sharp purple? No, it's not possible. We have we only have Rebecca. Let me just give it a red to save our time. So now if I run this now you notice that it changed to red, but I've already the color here, I've already given it a color. I don't know. I think I've given it. Let me see. I don't know. Okay, we'll explain that in specificity. So this is what we call Descendant selector. Means we are telling you that look for header, and inside header is where we have this h4. But if I remove this space now, it's going to give me another thing. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can see now. Yeah, Zuri before is blue. How do we get that blue? Okay, that blue is from here. Our h4 here is blue. So I'm going to remove this work. No, okay, there's no need of me canceling it. So now this so this is how we go about our header h4. So if you run this now, it should definitely run properly. So this is what I mean by Descendant combinator. Please try and check the video. Now, and they said it select all elements, that's all P elements. For example, now For example, here, if I have many H4, if I have many H4, if I have another H4 here, and I call this Zuri team, if I have another one, I name it as cohort 2. So sorry, next time, I just want to make sure that because of people that, I don't want to make sure that we are using this so that people who are new to Replit can also use it. So I won't have issue doing your assignments. So next time I'll be doing my task, or I'll be doing my presentation on live on my YouTube. Can we distinguish the anchor tag with ID? Abdullah, my name is Please, can you just I don't understand your question. Can we distinguish the anchor tag with ID? Yes, you can use it. You can give yes. If you want, yes, you can use anything. It's an attribute. You can use it, and it will be fine. You can see now both the three H4 now are all having the color of red, because we are telling you that you should select any H4 that's there. You should give it a color of red. So I hope that is clear. Let me go through the questions once again. You can use you can use either a checkbox, or you can use select. But you know, checkbox, you only have option of selecting one, and thank God in Nigeria we only have 2 genders, so you can just choose. You can just use select. The difference between select and checkbox, and checkbox, it's possible for you to select multiple elements in a select, but in checkbox. Okay, sorry, I want to use radio. Sorry, not checkbox. In radio, we can use radio option also. You can use select. You can use radio, or you can use checkbox, and you can use select. Anyone you can use. It's just a matter of them able to select one. No, can you please put the home, contact, etc. to be on the top? It's already on the top. The only thing, you only need to watch a video on Flexbox that you can do the layout. That's only what I think you need. I think I don't have a question here again, so I can continue. So I can continue with my, so this we call child selector. This selects all elements that are the children of a specific element. It's so okay. If I'm okay, so save our time, I can, if I go this, okay, sorry, I have now we're having what we call child selector. Select all elements that are children of a specific. For example, now this H4 is it. If I also come here and write this, if I also come here and write this, it will work. It will work because this H4 is a what? Is a direct children. Is a child. This H4, the number of H4 that we have here, they are children of Eda. They are inside Eda. Now, for example, and this div is the parent, is having this first P, paragraph 1, paragraph 2. is having it as children. It's also having a section. Now, this section too is having P. And also having, this section is having this P, paragraph 3. And after this section, we are having this paragraph 4. Now, then I say that, let me say background color. Let me put it to red. Now, let me run it and let me explain. Now, the first one is having, the first one and the fourth one, they're having red color. Why is the third one not having? Now, if you look at it now, if we are saying that div, the children, we are saying the direct child. Now, what is div here? This is the div we are having here. This is the first div we are having. What is the direct child? The direct child here is P1 and P2. The direct child that is what? That is P. The direct child that is P. If I write here, and let's see what is going to happen. You see, this is different thing, because these are the direct child. Now, but what we want to select here is direct child that is P. Now, the first one here, this div here is a div, but the direct child here is div. There are this one that is direct child. This one too is its own direct child, but it's not a P element, it's a section element. Now, this section, because this P here is not a child inside this div, it's a child inside this section. That's why it's not having this color. I'm running against. That's why this thing is not. It's a child inside. If I come here and I say section P. If I say our background color will be yellow. And I'm closing like this. If I run it like this. Now, because this section is the child, is the parent for this P, but it's also a child to this div. So it is this section that has this P as a child. That's why it's not red. Now, if you look at it too, this section is on its own, is closing here. But this div here, this P is inside it also. This P is inside it. If I cut this one away now, if you can see now, this paragraph 3, this P here is also inside this. Now, so that's why we have like this. Now, why is this one and not this? Because this one are not inside this div. They are not inside this div. Have closed here, so it doesn't know about it. So, but if I want this paragraph 5 and 6 to have, I can just remove this and paste it here. If I run this now, you can see now 4, 5, and 6 they are also having. That's meant by what? Child selectors. When we use greater than, it means a what? A child selector. It's going to select the child or the children of the elements, the direct children. So I'll be checking my live question if I have any. Okay, if you want to make it in column, okay. I think we have video on Flex and Flexbox. For example, now in this my CSS now, I think there's a video on this. I'm having this just a recap. Assuming I'm having just this one. Let me say I'm having this here like this. Sorry, I'm having a bit issue with my replit, so it's loading now. So now, assuming that I want to style, I'm saying Zuri team here. This is my Zuri team, and I want them to be side by side. Now I'll just go to my header, because everything, my everything here, I'll be deleting. Okay, let me run this so that we can all see. Now, if you look at it, this Zuri team and this header, don't forget that in our HTML class, we talked about block level elements and inline elements. Block, like I said, span and inline, or inline element and block level elements. Inline will take the width. That is the reason why you are not seeing them side by side. You are not seeing them side by side, because this one has taken the whole width of this page, and this one too is this H4 has taken this nav too is also a block level element. While our li too, they are also what? A block level inline. I think they are inline block. So that's why we can how to change code to comments on both HTML and CSS. Now, if you want to change your code to comments, you can just, or if you click on that code, let's just press Control forward / control forward slash, or you can just type it out yourself like this. In CSS here, you are just going to press control forward slash, or you write something like this. You can use this for many lines. You come here now, I remove this and I remove this also. Then if I come here now, they are all comments. I've commented every one of them out. So that's how we make comments in CSS. I hope this is clear. And so how to change code to comments on both CSS and HTML and CSS. I hope that is clear. Moses Oriade. You just press control forward slash and everything will change to comment. So now we talk about CSS combinator. We call something adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling. We all have sibling. I believe we all have sibling at home. We all have sibling at home. So when do we use our adjacent sibling? Now, for example, now this if someone is staying behind me, for example, now let me just make adjacent sibling like this. Assuming let me say we are categorizing based on family. If my family we are 4, and we are 4 in number. Let me say the first one is H1, H2, and H3. That's my family, and I'm a div. Let me be writing it down like this so that it will be easier. I'm a div like this. Okay, I can comment this out now. Assuming I'm a div like this now. I'm having two children of P. Let me say P element like this. Let me say P1. Let me say P1. So I'm having P1 like this, and I can also have another P. Let me say another P here. I call it P2. So I'm having these 2 children now as my own family. I'm having it. Now, another thing is here. Let me say there's another section here. There's a section. I'm having a section here. Let me say what you have here is just hello world. I think I've commented some things out. Okay, I want to explain about this, but I'll come back to it later. So if you look at it, I'm having P1 and hello world together. Now, if you look at it, this div, the next thing after this div is what? Is this section. So if I say so if I come here now and I want to style this, and I said our div plus section. Okay. No, let me use P so that it will be clear. Now I'll come back to my HTML now. Instead of using a section, let me use H3 now. We have this H3 and we have this H3. Let me have like 2 H3 here. I'm having like 2 H3 here. Now, if I go back to my CSS, for example, now I only want to style. If I only want to style this, let me say hello world, hello Zuri. I only want to style hello world. You know, there are different ways we can do it. You can use a class for first type, or you can also give this one a class like this. Say our class name is first H3, and you style it. This will work. But what if we want to use this adjacent sibling selector? Now, if you use adjacent sibling selector, it means that the first is staying at the next. Right now, the sibling, who is the sibling? Like the next elements after him, not the title. the next element after in. So if I say div now plus h3, if I say our background there should be red. Now let me run it. Now, if you look at it now, the first hello world is showing, but it's not selecting this hello Zuri, because hello Zuri is not this next sibling. But now, if this one to this h3 now, so the sibling for this one is this one. I hope this is clear with what we mean by what adjacent sibling. Please, I'll be waiting for your question so that we can make some other progress. Please increase the quality of your video so you can be able to see me. So that's so now someone asked how do you make the edits in column. That's what we mean by layout in CSS. Now I'll be doing that now before I move to other combinators. For example, I'm having this now. This is a block level element, and this one too is also block level element. So to make them to be side by side in column, I can just come here and say header. I'll give it a display. How do I want it to be? Display of flex. Please check your video on it. If I click here and run it now, if you look at it, both Zuri team and this one, they are now what? They are now together. I don't want to talk about. I want a class of flex, because flex is something that we are going to be using so much in our project. Either you use flex or grid, we are going to be using one of them. So one is one-dimensional, the other one is two-dimensional. So we are going to be using it in the project. So I'll be talking about it in the next class, or maybe in subsequent class. So now you can see now it has moved, but we already have the video for you in your LMS. Please check on it and watch it. So now our display here is flex. I can also say you should align them should be at the center. This one will move towards the center so that it will be together. The reason why it's like that is where is my header? If I go back here, this is where okay, all these ones are not part of the header. All these ones, this P and H5, they are not part of the header. So I can delete it now. So you can see now, this one is at the middle. Now look at this now. There are different ways you can do it. I want to style my LI. I can come here and say my UL of LI. So I'm using Descendant selector here. I can say my list style should be none. I want to remove all these dots. So if I click here and run it again now, if I click on it, we don't have the dot again. I want to remove all these decoration. I can say test decoration should be none. I don't want any decoration also. So you can see now there will not be this. Okay, yeah, I understand. Now it is not this LI that has this. If you look at our work now, it is this A. If you look at this A that have this decoration, that have this work. So I will have to come back here. Okay, don't let us. I almost come. So we can say UL LI, because UL, our LI is inside our UL, and our A is inside LI. So I can come here and say our test decoration here. So now you can see now there's no, we don't have all these things again. Now inside this our UL also, I can leave this now. I want, because they are on top of each other, I want them to be side by side. I can also use display of flex also. I think there's a video on flex. Please try and watch it. We can't go over everything because I want us to start the project, but I want majority of you to be able to finish your you can see now they are what? They are side by side. Now if I go here and say, for the header, I say justify content should be space between. Now it's going to shift these ones. So there is a space between them. What I mean by space between is what we call space between. When you say space between, Flexbox is like an API. Now it's going to take this there is a space, now when I write this, they are together, they are close to each other. So it's going to distribute the space. It's going to distribute the space between them. That means it's going to push the other one to the end. So that's what justify content should be space between means. And I can come here now. I can give this one a gap of, let me say, 2 also. It's going to work. But all these things are available in the video. So you can see now there is a space between them. So this is how your navbar will look like. But you are going to be needing a layout of it. If you have any questions regards it, please you can please explain the adjacent selector. Please, that adjacent sibling is not clear. Adjacent siblings now. The best way I can explain adjacent sibling is you yourself, unless your brother be your sibling, the person next to you is going to be the one selected, not your children, not your own children. So suppose now we want to share an inheritance. I want to share my dad's inheritance now. Me, I'm having just like if let me just don't let me bring you back right there. If you are I'm saying you are a first child, you have 4 children. Me too, I have 3 children. Once if you are sharing based on adjacent selector now, whatever, if I say that if I'm not telling you that give 30 million naira to your adjacent sibling, it means the next person after you, that's me, not your children. Siblings is when we use the greater than sign. But adjacent selector, when you use that plus, it means the next element after that element you are referencing about. That's what we by adjacent selector. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear about selector. I hope this is clear about adjacent selector. Yeah, I've seen it. Please, can we use inline as our value for display? Yes, you can use display inline. Yeah. Before now, we have always been using display inline, because one thing is this. If I'm using display inline here, that's what we have here. Because now this one is being displayed in block. That's the normal default settings for it. It's being displayed in block, but we don't want it in block. So we want it to be inline. So that's why we have it. They are still together, because this one is inside, like this and other stuff like that. So this one when we write inline, because most elements, for example, now your span element is in inline. But one thing about inline element, okay, last week I asked about the difference between inline. What I was trying to, logically, you cannot give you cannot give left and right padding to an inline element. You cannot give left and right padding to an inline element. So that's why most time when you want to style an inline element with padding, you need to or margin, you need to change them to inline block. So that's just, you can use inline too. I hope that is clear about adjacent sibling selector. Please, instead of all these adjacent sibling selectors, can I just give each element different ID and work on it? Yes, I can beat him lane, you can work on it, but you just have to understand it, because it lets you to write less code. Now suppose you want to, just for example, you want to style li, you can just take the li and it will apply with others instead of copying the same class for all of them. So I hope that is clear. We should be rounding up now. I believe there should also be another class by 7. So are we to link to the 3-page? Yes, you use anchor tag to link to the 3-page. So for example, now I have this HTML now. I want to create another HTML here. Okay, I want to create main.css. Now I create main.html like this. I'm creating main.html like this. I want to create main.html like this. So I will have to copy this. I just need the boilerplate. This is not or let me see if it works here. Okay, it also works. sorry. It was what happened? So okay, I think I have to select. And do I need to copy it? Okay, now I've copied that. Then I want to paste. I'm pasting it here. So I'll delete whatever that is inside my body. I'm just going to give our H2 here. I'm going to put an H2 here. I'm going to put an H2 here. Said I am from the main main.html. Now I want to link this my main to my what do you call it, to my index.html. Now I can say now that I will delete everything I have here to be easier. I want to delete everything I have here. I just hope the other okay. Let me not do so people that don't understand. I just if they want to ask. So now I want to go. I want to come here and say where we have my H2 here. I'm going to have my href here. We only use our A element to link elements here. I can give it an a href here. Now let me say href should link to, whenever I click to it, it should go to main.html. Now when you click on this, it should go to main.html. Let me say going to main dot go to. Let me say go to main like this. Now, if I save and try it, I'm expecting it to enter, to run. I think that's run, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, it's running. So now, if I say go to main element here, once I click on it here, you can see it goes to the main from the main.html. So it has moved to this page now. So from this page now, I can say let me go back here. I can go back. Once you click on this, or let me create another a element here. I can say go back to index. Let me say go back to index. Our href here will be index. You just locate the 5 parts index.html. If I run this now, now let me say I'm going to main now. I'm now in main page. It's just not what it's because it is there. If it is now if I go back to index, now if I click back here now, it should go back to my index.html. So this is how we link page together. That's how we are going to link your home page also. I hope that is clear and straightforward. Yes, we can use I think that we have already talked about CSS units. We have rem, pixel, vh, vw. All of them have been talked about. Please try and watch it. Yeah. The another class by itself is not by me. So for our assignment, I want to link the 3 pages. Yes, you have to link it together. If I click on go to register, I should be able to register. If I go to, for example, now if the website you are using, if someone is in, maybe it brings up for the first time you are coming to the page, it brings that you should log in. And you have not logged in before. So you see a link that already logged in. Are you new here? Sign up. All these things are linked. So that's just an example. I believe we should try and implement in our assignments. With that being said, I think we have covered a lot. We should be rounding up. Now I think I've talked most about I've talked about the adjacent sibling, the direct sibling elements. This one means the direct sibling select all elements that are next sibling of a specific element. Now, let's look at this. Paragraph 1 is not having Y. Now, for example, here we are selecting a div that has P, and this is where we have our P. So the direct sibling here is this, and direct sibling, because now the difference between adjacent sibling is this. This one, adjacent sibling can only select one element, but how do you call it? Direct general sibling, this one is telling that any after this div, any P that comes after it, it should be selected. If I put another P here again, if I put another P here, let's say on paragraph 5, it's going to select it also. It's going to select, because I was saying that after this div, any P that comes in it should be selected. But if I use plus here, it is just going to select paragraph 3. If I change this one from this to plus, it's just only going to select paragraph 3, because it's after this div we are having here, it is the next sibling. So that will be my adjacent sibling selector. It's very important you know it, because it will help you to write lesser code for your work. I also have pseudo classes, which we are going to be talking, which are going to be a pseudo class is used to define a specific state. Like now, if you look at this, if you look at most of the time when you hover on the place, this one, when I hover on this one, it's giving me the cursor change from pointer from arrow or something like this to pointer. The cursor change here. If you look at it, as I'm mousing over this, it's giving what? It's changing. If I focus on this now, it's what? It's changed the color. These are what we call pseudo classes. We are going to talk about it possibly next in our class. We have 5 minutes left. I'm just trying to, or you can. I think it has. We have also talked about it in the YouTube video sent to you. We also have the pseudo element. This is very, very important. Like now, if you want to select the first line, of an element. You want to first letter. You know that in your work, most of you see in your newspaper that the first letter usually the first letter like this is usually big. They are using the first letter. We are using pseudo element. This is what we call pseudo elements. They are using the first letter. So that's why this one is XS slash. You can say ATRM. That's why you see this is what they use in newspaper. You can see now it's very big, which someone must not just. Now look at this one now. You can put, so this is what we call pseudo elements. With that being said, please try and finish up your tasks as soon as possible. I want us to do the styling of that crypto project, so that I can also release the next this month challenge. I wish one of you guys will win the challenge on Twitter. So that would be a very good thing to start with, and we'll always be proud of it. Thank you everyone for joining the class. You have stayed so long, and I hope you have gained 1 or 2 things. If you need further clarification or question, please message me on Slack. I'm available on Slack. I will definitely respond to you. If you have any challenge, I'll definitely respond to you. Just that if it is the assignment given to you, please try and go search it. Try and do it on your own first. Reaching out to mentors or sending message to mentors should be the last thing, because this is a problem that you will definitely be solving on your own and on the long term. So you should just try and get used to it. Try and get used to it. I'm teaching you, let me say 30% or 20% of everything I'm going to be learning. 80% of it you are going to be learning it on your own. So try and go through your work and challenge yourself. Is the one thing about coding is this: when you're about to start, you think it's something impossible. You believe it's going to be impossible, but start it. Then you know that you start getting it. You start having problems. Then you start going and you start having getting the solution. You don't need to memorize anything. For example, now if you don't know this, if this question say that the first letter of this word, you want it to be capital letter, you want it to be very big, you just search it on Google that. For example, now I don't know this pseudo class. I want to search it on Google. How to make the first letter in the word to be very big, or you can select out very big. This is just a layman in CSS. Let's see what we're going to happen. We can see now the first thing they bring for me is what? CSS first letter selector. Imagine I've not heard about it before. I didn't know it. So you can see now, the first thing I'm going to tell you that you say the first letter selector is used to add a style to the first letter of a specific selector. So you can see now, this is just despite the fact that I know it. If you don't know it, you can just go to search it. So you should not try to memorize code. Try and if you have try and move as fast as possible. And if you're having issue, just if you're having any issue, just search it on Google. So I think you should try and make reaching out to mentor as your last option. So thank you everyone. I really appreciate for you. I really appreciate you coming online to join the class. See you guys tomorrow. I think so. Yeah, we should have a class tomorrow. I look forward to grading everyone. I want to score everyone 5-5. So please finish up your tasks in due time so that we can do the styling and we can see how I too will make mistake and how I will be able to solve it. Because definitely I will make mistake. CSS is no man's friend. CSS is no man's friend. So I will make mistake. You see it and you see how I'm going to solve it. So thank you everyone. See you tomorrow.